Everyone's.
Live from the Kidney.
Live from the Kidney, baby. That's right. We
Wait a
are
minute,
back.
John. Wait a minute, John. I got it. Hold up. Because I got to welcome my brother Ben to the show. And Ben, I just want you to know, finally I got somebody I can talk to. You know, my contract is almost up with the show. So I need you, and you understand me. You about the only one that I can talk to on this, because you work with veteran actors and shop, Ernie Hudson. So you can go into a scene where you got some actors that ain't really experienced, you can carry the scene. Well, imagine having to do that every Thursday night. That's what I have to do, man. That's what I have to go through. And my producers ain't paying me. I've been talking to Roger and Keisha. Like, I've been looking, I'm like, Keisha, you wear these hats all the time. You can trade one of them hats in so you can pay me my salary.
Hey, Raj, I'll make you lamb chops if you take Glenn out right now.
Damn.
Thank you.
That was easy. Hey, and Ben,
Yeah.
he misspoke. He said his contract was almost up. What he actually meant to say was his contact with the show was almost up, because we really done with him. And
this is the love I get. I drink champagne. This is all I got for my birthday.
Man.
An empty flask. There ain't nothing in it.
Hey man, I guess I'm a bit of a cornball, because weren't we on last week?
Yes, Sean. Every Thursday we're on.
Was I on last week?
I think
Yes,
you
Sean,
hosted.
usually you're here. Usually.
Because I feel like it's been.
Depending on who you are.
I feel like it's been forever since I saw y'all, man.
I mean, according to Mel, you ain't never actually all here, even when you're here.
This is true.
And he didn't even deny it. He just looked up.
Before we get into things, man, I want to ask everybody watching, as we always do, to please copy the URL. Blessings to you, Jeanette. Copy the URL and share it on your social media pages. Don't just share it, but copy the URL and share that on your pages. It helps build our algorithm. We're still flying high off our Virginia trip, still trying to come down from how much fun that was. And then we come back, and a few weeks back in from Virginia, we get the I'm gonna start calling them Big Handsome. We get the Big Handsome in the studio with us for a whole hour. Ben Stephens.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me.
You think?
You are neither big nor handsome, Robert. Well, you may be big in some places that I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
God bless and keep you, and make his face to shine upon you and give you peace.
Come on, bro. I'm eating, man. I'm eating.
Really, while I'm talking about that kind of language. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all having me back, man.
No, we appreciate you, man. And check it out. For those who don't know who you are, don't know what you do, have not seen you moving around on their TVs. He said, "Oh shit!" He must have lost it.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay. Hey man, tell the viewers who you are, what you do, where they can find you after the night if they want to see you on a bigger, better screen. Tell them where they can do that.
My name is Ben Stevens. I play Curtis Duncan on The Family Business. We on BET every Tuesday now. Season 3 premieres on Tuesday at 9. And I hope everybody support it.
And he didn't even curse me out for saying Stephens instead of
I heard
Stevens.
it when you said that. I'm like,
Hey, it's
Yeah, you know, right? It's I mean, if I see you on the side of the road needing help, I'm gonna stop. That's the
exactly.
We want to apologize for Sean stalking you since the last time he was on the show, trying to get a role on the show and everything. Talking about I can sing, I can do a club.
Sean said I was in the I did a couple plays.
Right, I was in the high school drama. I was killing them being in the high school drama club. I was killing them. I was hard. They thought I had a future. I did, but just not in what you do.
Yeah.
Hey man, before we get in, man, anything going on with anybody, man? Y'all want to get into before we start chopping it up? Y'all anything you want to share? I'm sure everyone is happy that Mel is eating again. It's been a while since Mel was on the show eating, so we actually get comments in mail, MAIL, about male eating. So it's become a staple on the show. So we glad he decided to get in the kitchen.
There's not much left. A fresh strawberry salad with almonds and peppers, and it's delicious.
That's solid right there, man.
Yeah. No, he real about that thing. He real about that thing. Hey man, so check it out. I at the risk, I want to start the show talking about something that I know is going to be flammable. I don't want to talk about the death of Kevin Samuels, but I want to talk about the comfort level that women and some men I've seen have with dragging this brother in the wake of his death. I think that is so uncool. Like we talked about in the green room, this is a dude who really hasn't done any more than put on a suit and tie and got on your computer and said the same thing that your uncle and your grandpappy say that people think is outdated or out of touch or whatever, and you still invite him back every year to the family reunion. There are people that have been publicly and unashamedly celebrating this dude's death. I mentioned that nothing he said has been something that would change your quality of life. He's just talking about how he sees the scope of the dating world and our expectations. And admittedly, I can't say I was a fan, but there were times where I thought he was accurate, just like there were times that I thought he was inaccurate. There were times I thought he was accurate, but maybe he packaged it in a way that people couldn't really receive it. But there were definitely times where I thought that he was spot on. But there were times I thought he wasn't. At the end of the day, I thought he had a right to share his opinion, and I don't celebrate him in death for the time that I didn't agree with him. You know what I'm saying? So I'd love to hear from you guys, man, on it, whether you've seen what I've seen, am I imagining it, or what. But Robert, let's start with you.
I think that it's terrible. I mean, there are a number of celebrities, in fact, that have talked about Kevin in a negative way. And it could be that they felt something. But on the flip side, I've seen women who have talked about him in a positive way, how they've actually helped, their lives. So because Kevin did he aside from when you call in and talk to him, he would give you advice, particularly if you're a woman over 35. He also talked about the others too under that. But so some women have actually said some great things about him as well. But it just kind of tells you, man, how people can dog us out once we're gone. That's probably the biggest thing for me.
Ben, were you familiar with him? Did you know his presence on? He was basically came to fame as a YouTuber, but
No, I know who Kevin Samuel is. I listen to his how I think one thing about him though is not. I don't think he was saying like the wrong stuff, right? I just think like his deliverance was a little harsh, and so
I think that's a lot of it, because you can say the right thing and just say it in a way, I think that a lot of people saw him as arrogant and pompous, and those are things that
I think if he delivered it. If he delivered it a certain way, I think people would have received it a little bit better. He came across to me like a shock jock, like a Howard Stern, right? So I think that was his whole thing. But I think sometimes, it's how you deliver the message, whether somebody's going to receive it or not.
I saw one lady post something that just like he told so many women they would die alone, he ended up dying alone with a woman he didn't really know, on top of a woman he didn't really know, and woo 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 woo. And I mean, it was just it was the same way, football fans that weren't a fan of Dwayne Haskins, like if you hated him as a player, you still have compassion for his family and those who lost him, in death. I mean, that's just a humane posture and a humane position to take. Glenn, talk to me. What have you seen and what did you think about it?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I've seen some good and bad and some ugly. But like you said, that's somebody's son, that's somebody's father. We turns out I think he had a daughter. That's somebody's friend, and there needs to be at least some level of respect in death. That even if he didn't show it in life, you have to be the bigger person and show it in death, with respect to the people he left behind that actually loved him.
And you
You
know
may
it
not
has to
have
be
to,
connected to the fact that he said something that triggered you,
right,
and you've held animosity toward him
right.
because it hit home. You know.
But the point is, he had a call-in show, and the key word is call-in. So you made the choice to call in. So whatever you got for you knew what you were getting when you called into the show.
It's
So
like going to that restaurant where you know they're gonna mistreat you when
yeah,
when they take your food order.
yeah, it's like where they talk about you and throw stuff at you, and then you shocked because they did it. You know what you were getting into when you got out there.
Right.
So, voluntarily.
I saved Mel for last on purpose because Kevin was actually our fraternity brother. And so I definitely wanted to hear from Mel in terms of what he thought about it.
Couple things. Number one, I will say I wasn't a fan of his delivery. Right? It's the term serving caviar on a garbage can lid, right? You know what I mean? Like you can say and some of the stuff he said I might not even necessarily agree with. Let me start by saying I never watched the full episode. I've only saw bits and pieces and clips.
Same for me.
So,
yeah, me too.
So the stuff that I saw of him, was it a little bit harsh? Yeah. And Ben said it, like a Howard Stern. I don't listen to Howard Stern's show, right? Because it's not my thing. I don't understand how people get mad about something that they have the option to ignore. You know what I mean? It's not like he was forced upon people. People had the option to ignore, not watch his comments, not watch what he said about people, and all of these other things. The same level of whatever that he had, I would compare to Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer has been doing all types of crazy stuff and, talking about people and you are not the father and all type of it. It's trash television to me. However, nobody drags Jerry through the mud at all. Okay. You got the option to watch it.
Didn't he become the mayor of something or the governor of something? He pursued a political career after it.
That was before the Jerry Springer stuff. He was mayor of Cincinnati.
Oh, I thought he did it afterwards. Okay.
Whatever he was, it's why are you getting mad about something you have the option to not watch or listen to that doesn't directly impact your life? There are plenty of people that are just like Kevin Samuels. He just happened to be one of the ones that got some notoriety and had some followers. And it's so crazy. I saw a pastor. A pastor was talking about how horrible a person Kevin Samuels was, and he did all of that stuff. But now he has to have a GoFundMe for his funeral. Lies. His YouTube page was making $50,000 a month. He didn't need a GoFundMe for anything, right? So, but now people are capitalizing off the fact that he's gone and talking about it. Was I a fan? No. Do I have to agree with everything you say? No. You know what I mean? But people volunteered for it. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I just find it amazing, man. And the lack of humanity people are willing to show. And then, I mean, he came for men the same he came for women. It's not like this was this woman bashing dude. He went hard at men just the same. And so, you can't even make that argument that he was, like he was mistreating the women or whatever, because he would drag men as hard as he would drag women. And at the end of the day, I still say he still didn't say anything you haven't heard your uncle say at the family reunion. And you still plan on.
You may not have done that. Everybody's family doesn't have that uncle.
Yeah,
They don't
well,
have
An interesting thing was one of my friends was talking about he doing all this talking about women and high value man. Look at how he dressed. He probably gay. This, that, and the third. He might be. Don't know the man. If he is, so what? Does the fact that he might be gay take away from the fact that what he told this woman was true? You are in this type of shape, you have this type of career, and you have kids, but you want a man that makes over $250,000 a year to come swoop you off your feet and take care of you, it's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, he never really to me gave unrealistic advice. It was just packaged really crass, and I think that was what got him notoriety. I believe if he was giving those same messages, but giving them kind and sweet, nobody would know his name. It was
Yeah,
That's definitely. I think that's definitely what got him the notoriety.
Yeah.
Kind of delivering the message. You know,
Yeah.
I was watching it one time, like Mel said, I haven't watched like a whole episode of his, but I was watching like one clip on the internet, and he asked the girl like out the gate, was like, how much you weigh? Right? And he was like, how tall are you? And she was like, I weigh like 260, I'm 5'5". And he was like,
Ooh.
oh. And he was just like, yo, you're not gonna get the type of man like, you know, you want, you know. And I was just like, wow.
There's
And I'm sorry, but if you're a man that's 5'5" and 300 pounds, you're not gonna get the type of woman you want either.
Hey, look, there's a difference between possible and probably.
Right.
You know, it's possible, it is not probable.
Right. You can aspire to get that woman, but in reality, it's probably not gonna happen. In actuality, there's actuality and aspiration. But I mean, sorry, you gotta look at yourself if you're celebrating somebody dying. I'm sorry. You gotta take a long look at yourself. That's the bottom line.
Unless there's somebody like, you know, the insurrection people that are trying to change the quality of life of people, you know what I'm saying? And you know that it comes from a place of pure evil. If you're celebrating somebody's death, you're just wrong, and you should probably be quiet, because it says more about your humanity and your capacity for humanity than anything else. With that in mind, though, I'm still thinking about the way our words are taken and twisted and used in a narrative for other people's agendas. I was thinking back to Cam Newton's comments a couple of months ago, and more like weeks maybe. And Cam basically said two things that made a whole lot of women angry. He said, well, he was saying that to him, the whole boss bitch movement, that wasn't a real woman for him. And as Ben noted, he said for him, and he has every right. He has every right to feel what he feels. But what he said was, for him, a real woman was a woman that knows how to take care of her man. He may have used the word cater, but I know he said take care of her man, and knows when to be quiet. And because those two things are seen as super docile, primitive behaviors, you know, they were taken to me out of context, because I guarantee you, any woman that says a good man is one that knows how to take care of his woman is not going to get any trouble. And any woman that says, anytime my man knows when to step back and be quiet in a situation, she's not going to catch any trouble. So I believe you can put the same thing, the same blatant thing over a man and a woman, and it become a different thing. Because he said she needed to be quiet and she needed to take care of her man, it became this prehistoric, you know, old school kind of, you know.
Well, Sean, you remember we were talking a few months ago, and I mentioned something about marriage, and I said something about love, honor, and obey. Well, like, I've never been married, and I haven't been to that many weddings lately. So I didn't know what the language changed, and everybody's like, don't nobody say obey again. And it's like, okay, I didn't mean anything by it. I just, love, honor, and obey is kind of what you heard when you was growing up and you went to it. You know, I'm not asking you to put on a harness and go plow my field once I marry you.
Bust up the shiffer for me.
The shiffer.
Mel, did you have any thoughts on the Cam Newton thing, man? I just thought it was.
I didn't hear or read anything about it, so I don't know what he said. Just according to what you say, though, you know, and take care of is relative, right? That knows how to take care of his man, or she knows how to take care of his man, or he knows how to take care of what. That's relative. What does it mean to take care of your person, your significant other? It's different things for different people. You know, take care of doesn't mean, it doesn't have to mean barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. You know what I mean? Or docile or whatever. Take care of me means Give me what I need when I need it. That's taking care of me. You know what I mean? So, I mean, most of y'all on the show, y'all know my lady. Ain't nothing docile about her, but she does take care of me and she does know when to be quiet. You know what I mean? And it's the same for me. I know when to be quiet. I'm a hothead. I know when to be quiet though. Right. So I don't know. I didn't hear the full statement, but
I'd love you to circle back to it, man, and still share your thoughts. And again, I think there's nothing wrong with a man that knows how to be quiet. Like Mel said, I had an altercation in an alley 2 nights ago, and I got a friend that's in town from Florida, and I'm sure she will tell you she was sitting in the car, wishing I would be quiet. You know, there's nothing wrong with that in a man. It was just a moment where I was unwilling to do that. But if I had been willing to do that, it didn't make me less of a man. You know, it may have made me a smarter man, because it was a situation where I was in conflict with a dude who was, you know, probably Ben's size and half my age. You know, and I made the decision to say, well, we're gonna find out what this is or not. You know, and luckily it didn't go where it could have been, because to his credit, and I want to say this, all young guys aren't crazy. You know, sometimes they know when they out of line. And me and this man were about to do a whole dance out in the alley, and he said, you know what? I apologize. I'm not handling this right. I shouldn't have said what I said. He gave me his name. I gave him my name. I said, hey man, this ends right here. You know, I appreciate you. I'm proud of you for being that dude. You know, I saw him the next day. We throwing fists up at each other like, you know, we've been friends for 20 years. So it doesn't always have to end bad. But I just think it's tragic, man, how we can take 2 very simple things, and because of the gender involved, it becomes a different thing. But what else bothered me was that I saw and I hate to pull the race card, but I saw a white sports analyst dragging him, 2 white sports analysts. One was Phil Sims' son, who I think is a moron. But it was Phil Sims' son, and the other guy, I can't call his name, but they were basically dragging his comments, and I felt like there was a cultural element to where the comments were said and how they were said, that really didn't you know we've talked about times when people respond to stuff and you know the person isn't talking to you. You know, like you're responding, but it's like that wasn't for you. That wasn't a comment that was for you. And I felt like they were doing that, and I felt like it was so unfair. These 2 very, very conservative white guys who pulled a clip off of a podcast called 100 Miles Worth of Game, that you know is culturally specific. You don't know nobody else that says that than us.
Yeah,
that's us.
that was Wallow. That's Wallow.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the danger of putting stuff out there.
Yeah, because they get to take it and almost misappropriate it, as you know.
Yeah, I mean, you have to watch your brand at all times. I mean, this is the age of being careful about what you say, being careful about what you put in public. You know, Mel makes the joke about giving a disclaimer, but sometimes you need that disclaimer, and you need to think about that before you put stuff out there.
Yeah, I think that right, because I think he said, you know, for him, right? You know, it's some dudes out here that love boss bitches. You know what I'm saying? And I think when he said it was for him, you know, I think he got, you know, taken out of context, you know, but like you said, we always go back to the deliverance, right? It was, you know, how you said it, you know, and so I think people receive it a different way depending on how things are said.
I used to work with a dude, man, who told me he loved a woman that cursed. I mean, it was actually a thing for him. He was like, "Oh man, it turns me on. I love a foul-mouthed woman."
A woman that curses.
I can think of some. Hey Ben, I can think of some situations where some bad words might work for me. You know,
I was just about to say that's situational.
Yeah, you know, but
words right out of my mouth.
But I don't want a woman talking about, "Hey, if you free later, can we go to the fucking Walmart?" I don't want.
This brings up something in my head though that's really prevalent in our society, and I mean I get that men have different strengths and expectations based off of our physicalities, right? But in all actuality, and Ben, you could appreciate this. I mean, with both of us being in the entertainment industry and movies, think about a movie where a woman slaps a man or throws a drink in a man's face, and it's either she was angry or he deserved it or what did he do, and you could go on to love that character because either she stood up for herself, or even if she had a moment where she was in the wrong, there's still redemption for that character. Mm-hmm. Let it be a man who hits a woman or throws a drink in her face, and they're going to hate that character for the entire movie. There's no redemption for him throwing a drink in her face. Now, in the Johnny Depp case I think is a good example. Men are expected to take abuse more than women are. It's a man up, or, I know you're not really talking about she hit you or whatever, even if it didn't hurt, even if I'm 6'1", 220 pounds in decent shape, and a woman could punch me and it might not affect me, but you still don't have the right to put your hands on me like that. Right. But if a guy, and let's just say he's 5'2" and 120 pounds, but he still punches a woman and it doesn't impact her or affect her or whatever, because he's a man and he did it, that's extremely abusive, and he shouldn't, when in all actuality, nobody should put their hands on anybody. Now I'm all against men that are abusive, but I'm also against women that are abusive too. But there's no redemption for men if we do something that is seen as abusive or whatever, whether it's fictional in a movie or real life.
Yeah, but that goes both ways. I have 4 sisters, and abuse is there's no excuse for it. So I have to treat it the same way if I'm the one being abused. I have to look at it the same way, because I can't do the double standard.
So, Mel, let me ask you this. You raise a really, really interesting twist on that whole thing. Is there redemption for men with any mistake that they make? I mean, you isolated that particular one in that example, but truth be told, there's not much redemption for men with a substantial mistake in most situations. Would you agree or not agree?
I think it depends on the parties involved. There's no cookie cutter answer for this. I'm not a person that likes to give blanket statements for the most part. I think in some situations with the right people, the right conversations around the mistake, then it could happen. Lord knows I've made some mistakes in my life, and I'm far from perfect. With the right people, the right conversations, the right level of understanding and willingness to see where the real issue is. Because sometimes the incident is not the root of the issue, right? The incident is just the aftermath of what's been growing all of this time, and a person acted out in a certain way, but the real issue is this. So with the right communication and getting to the issue, I think it can be done if the parties involved are willing to really look at what's going on.
I think that's what happened, Mel, with the Will Smith Chris Rock situation. I think what he said wasn't warranted what Will did, but I think Will was probably going through some other stuff, you know what I mean, that when he said it, he might have felt a certain way and did what he did, you know what I mean? So I don't think like what Chris said warranted what Will did, but I don't think it had anything to do with that. I think it was some other shit that Will was going through. That's my.
Hey, Robert, I wanted to hear from you on what we were talking about with Mel, with whether or not you thought that there was an imbalance in terms of what men were responsible for, and whether there was redemption for them when they make mistakes. Do they get a comeback from that? Do like Mel said, even in the movies, they write the movie that by the end of the movie, you can love on her again. I was watching one of my favorite movies, my 2 favorite movies I watched last week, Forgetting Sarah Marshall and The Proposal. And both these movies start with these 2 different ladies really both doing some very heinous shit, but in just different things, but it was really foul what they did. And by the end of the movie, the story is written so that your heart goes out to them and you have compassion for them because they see the error of their ways, basically. Um, what do you think about that? Is that a real thing for you? Do you think that men suffer a totally different price when it comes to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Mel said it best. I think that there's always an underlying issue that's going on, and we get the brunt of it when when it kind of bubbles up. I've been in situations with people, and I didn't know why they're hitting me, but as we've said, you can't hit them back because then they lose every sort of respect for you, and or will tell their friends about that part of it, but they're not telling them the whole part of it, which is unfortunate. But I think it also comes with a level of maturity. I think we need to look at where people are, and if we look at where people are, and I know this takes time, by the way, to look. You have to know your partner. Ben, you said it with Will, and Jada knowing him could have potentially calmed that situation down. I'm still a firm believer that your partner is supposed to be that safe space for you or the protector.
Jada, the reason that he went off.
I know that Jada is, but I'm saying she could have grabbed him, Mel, before when she saw him going up.
You're saying she had the control, and that's
she had the control. And,
she
and
pushed the button. Will laughed at the joke at first. I didn't want to.
Remember,
but the button
laughed at it.
He laughed until he looked over at her. Because he's a comedian.
Then the button should have been stopped.
Yeah. So I think that to your point, Sean, we know our partners. As Yolanda said, it's a trigger moment, and when that trigger moment happens, it happens for us. But I've been in those situations. I was a great guy, Christian, guy, etc. But man, when things went south in my last marriage, I'm this, that, and the other with her family, and it's not fair, but it's their reality, and I can't do anything about it.
I think a lot of times, and I'm not saying anything about the Will Smith thing because I vowed that I would not, simply because my opinion on it does not run concurrent with the opinion of the majority. But I think a lot of times, Robert, those are people, man, that think that about you anyway. And they're just looking for the opportunity or the reason to be open about what they think about you.
Absolutely.
Because the family and friends and loved ones of the person that you were with know who they are. And they know what they're capable of. And they know how they were probably treating you or what they were putting you through. And so if they allow her that space to dog and drag you and join her in that space, they probably weren't fans of yours to begin with. And so it has really nothing to do with what she did. I mean, most of us are at a place now where we can love somebody and still call them out on their wrong. So
I agree with you completely, Sean. But I think it goes back to, original question that we were talking about. We're expected to be perfect. So that's the bigger issue. We're expected to be we're expected to be perfect, but yet when there's a flaw, sometimes people look at that flaw and they blow it up, right? Yeah. And so when they blow it up, that makes it, they put you on blast that, ooh, he has a booger in his nose, or something like that. I mean, so it's.
Well, the double standard is definitely real, and there's an aspect of it that I want to circle back to before we're done. But I also want to pitch to Mel, because there was a story in the news that he had much more familiarity with than I did, and I asked him if he wouldn't mind quarterbacking, presenting that to you guys and us.
Hey, Sean, before we do that, though, it's interesting because the conversation in the chat room was a song by Jared Stone, "I Bust the Windows Out Your Car." John Legend could not make a song called "I Bust the Windows Out Your Car."
No,
only a woman can get away with that song. So I don't know about the equality part of it, your question, but there's no way that a man could write a song about busting the windows out of a woman's car.
And then she gonna say,
That was Jasmine Sullivan, right?
and my car better than yours anyway.
Yeah, Jasmine Sullivan. Yeah.
Mel, please, brother, indulge me. There was a story about a bus of young black female athletes that was profiled and pulled over. I'd love you to share some details with about.
Yeah. So, a couple things. I didn't know Delaware State was an HBCU. Number one. Number two, when they said a bus full of lacrosse players got pulled over, I wasn't thinking they were black. Not that black people don't play lacrosse. It ain't a whole lot in Chicago.
Right, it ain't a lot. My nephew did actually, but yeah, not a lot.
Yeah. So the lacrosse team from Delaware State was driving back from a tournament, and they were driving through Georgia and got pulled over by a white sheriff's department that basically got on the bus and was like, "Yeah, we think you're smuggling drugs through, the excuse they gave was a lot of drugs come through here," and they were like, "Well, are you if there's anything in here, you need to tell us now." And the girls are looking like, anything like what, so they brought drug sniffing dogs and all of this stuff. One girl had a package. She was a senior, had a package. Some family members came to watch her play and gave her a gift. They went through it. They were like, "Well, whose is this?" And she, mine. "What's in here?" "I don't know. My aunt told me to open it when I got back." "So you accepted something from somebody and you don't know what it is?" Come on, bro. Like, really? So several politicians, the president of the university, several politicians have, tried to find answers and what have you. The sheriff's department has not made a statement as of yet. They said they were.
They did make a statement. Actually, the sheriff
finally did.
Yeah, the sheriff is black. Yeah. Actually, the sheriff that heads up the department is black for that county.
Oh, okay. Tell me more.
And I think he made a statement day before yesterday, and he said, this was we did it by the book, and we didn't search their personal items, which was a lie, and they have that on video. So obviously, whatever information they fed him for the PR was the wrong information, because to your point, the gift that they opened and everything else. And I don't know what the repercussions are, but I know the senators from Delaware, the governor, they've actually asked the Justice Department to look into it as well. And I don't know that anything will happen, honestly, because it's a county in South Georgia, and everything outside of Atlanta is Georgia. As Chris Rock told the joke one time, Atlanta's great, but you know what's outside of Atlanta 5 miles? Georgia. And Georgia is still Georgia, as I said when we were talking about this the other day. But yeah, it's a travesty. They use the excuse of drugs and sex trafficking for stopping the vehicle. Basically, that a lot of that happens along the highway. I don't think anything will happen. I think it's bad press for that sheriff's department, and maybe some other things. But I mean, people only respond to economic hardship.
The production team says the sheriff was black, actually.
Right.
Yeah, he is. That's what I said. Yeah, I said the sheriff was.
So I think, Glenn, that we have an opportunity, because we are on, it's not, I'm going to just say this right now, Black Power, but that's not the word I want to use. But I think we have an opportunity now to do something about it. Yes, because the sheriff was black and he spoke for his deputies. I still think that if we push, that agenda, we can actually get some things changed, or at least some attention given to it, as well as some potential lawsuits.
Yeah, I mean, there could be a potential lawsuit because it was an illegal search and seizure.
Yeah,
it wasn't a seizure, but it was an illegal search because they pulled him over for a lane violation. I've had plenty of lane violations where my car didn't get searched, and the drug sniffing dog didn't come up to see what was going on with what I had in there, So, so it was an illegal search, definitely. At worst, it was an illegal search.
Would you have champagne?
Hey man, we got about 15 minutes left, man, and I want to real quick shout out Kennery Smith and Randy Stress, who both are in the room. as well as everybody watching. I'm so tired, man. I feel like I'm talking like I got numb lips or something. But I want to thank everybody that's watching with us. If you haven't copied the URL and shared it, please do that. If you're just tuning in, the big man in the middle, the center on the basketball court for the night, is Ben Stevens, who is an acclaimed actor, and just at the end of the day, he's a good dude. If I wanted to be remembered for anything, it wouldn't be anything other than being a good dude. The other stuff is extra gravy, but Ben's a good dude, and he's been here with us before, and we look forward to all the times that we're going to be able to get on this schedule and have him come chop it up with us. I saw something.
I don't know if he's a good dude. I've seen him at the back of a Mack truck with a 12 gauge in his hand. You know what I'm saying?
He was at work, Mel. He was at work. He was at work.
That's the whole acting thing,
Mel,
right?
Curtis and Ben are two different people.
Okay.
I saw Curtis tap somebody.
Curtis and Ben, two different people, man.
Hey, Ben, sound like Curtis ain't shit.
You had that look on your face.
Let me tell you something, man. Curtis a bad dude. I actually love playing the character, man. He loyal. He love his family. You know what I'm saying? He loves.
He's a protector of his family, right?
Yeah, he don't play around. He'll fuck you up over his family, man. He don't like that shit.
Hey, but a lot of actors, man, love playing characters that are stretches from who they are. So that supports the fact that, you know, Ben is a good dude. Curtis ain't shit.
Ben, somebody
Curtis a good dude too, man.
Yeah,
Curtis a good dude, man.
Unless you're on his bad side, it sounds like you're on his bad side.
Then it's gonna be a problem.
You know?
Somebody just shouted you out from PG County. I'm assuming that's Prince George's County in Maryland.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's PG,
Yeah,
man.
okay.
That's where I'm from, bro. I'm from where
Right.
I grew. I moved to PG when I was 12. I used to live in Southeast DC. So
You know that's the most affluent county for African Americans in the country. Ben, you was loaded before you started acting, huh? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, certain
the truth comes out.
It's like one, maybe two areas in PG County, but then you got you know areas like Capitol Heights, and I grew up in Forestville, but I stayed around like the Landover area, Columbia Park.
Oh yeah,
is kind of where I
Landover.
kind of
Okay.
stayed.
Where the bullets
Kind of
used to
like
go.
where Lynn Byers grew up at, you know. So I was at that rec center.
Okay, where the
So-
bullets used to play in Landover, Maryland.
Yeah, that was way back.
The old
Yeah.
arena.
Yeah, the Capitol Center.
Glenn just ruined his ongoing perception that he's the youngest guy on the cave by knowing that.
I
Wow.
was watching some old stuff from YouTube from back in the day.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how old that is. Like what's that sale played at the Capitol Center?
That's what I was gonna say. That's some old Wes Unseld story right there, Ben. That's what I was gonna say. You can't be the youngest dude in the cave and you know who Wes Unseld is.
I watched NBA history.
I don't even know who that is. And for the record, ladies and gentlemen, I am the youngest one on the
No,
cave.
he's not. No, he's not. This is actually my community service because the judge told me I wouldn't do no time if I went to the senior center on Thursday nights and work with the old fellas. So that's why I'm here.
Glenn, that is really funny. Like some stuff is so funny you don't laugh, you just appreciate the humor. That's really funny. That's one of your best ones. It didn't make me laugh. But
It's just like Gwendolyn, like I'm in the comments. Gwendolyn said certain parts of PG County, certain parts of PG County, Glenn is affluent. There's a whole bunch of other parts of PG County that ain't.
Like a block or two.
Hey,
like Sea Pleasant.
Hey, I saw a comment, man, earlier today. A young lady posted that she was supposed to have a date tomorrow, but she canceled the date because the brother asked her if she liked Applebee's. And I was like, well, that's interesting.
She could have missed out on her Prince Charming, man.
Well, here's what I found funny, Ben, and this is why I'm bringing it up. So I decided to read some of the comments, the thread underneath. She goes on to say her favorite date ever was going to the zoo. And I thought, well, I don't think the zoo is a pricier date than Applebee's.
Hey, it depends on the zoo, Sean.
Well, I don't know if you got stripper animals at the zoo you going to. I don't know.
Oh
Maybe
my God.
you throwing dollars at the stripper.
If you're going to like Brookfield Zoo, or if you've ever been to San Diego Zoo, you
San
got to spend a
Diego,
little bit of
top
money.
zoo.
Well, my point more specifically is, I thought that there was a weird kind of disparity in that. Like, you know, taking somebody out to eat at it's a low budget restaurant. It ain't, you know what I'm saying? But to the zoo to walk around, I mean, what's so hippo ass beats Applebee's? I just thought that was a weird thing, and I'm always welcome to be checked. But I was trying to figure out what her issue had to be with Applebee's. Was it did she see it like McDonald's, or you know, or what? And then for her to celebrate going to the zoo, I just was like, maybe you have a perception about where you go to eat, like, you know, and even Mel has talked about like Groupon stuff, you know, and that kind of stuff. Like, it just kind of made me think like.
But even when Mel went to a Groupon for Applebee's, well, maybe he would. I don't know.
Well,
We probably wouldn't have to do a Groupon for Applebee's. I mean, you know, Applebee's ain't that.
Applebee's. He would if he could get one. That's what I'm saying.
I haven't seen Applebee's.
Man, Applebee's got good chicken fingers, man.
They used to have the best chicken fingers. You'd get those chicken fingers with some honey mustard, and you had a meal. But
We could have missed
down.
out on her Prince Charming, man. I mean, when me and my wife first started dating, man, I don't have enough money to take her to the arcade, bro. We used to go to the arcade all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where I'm at, being like, what am I missing that a brother can't take you to Applebee's, but he can take you to the zoo?
I was young too, so it depends on what the
It
age
depends on
is
the
like.
age range. You can't be taking a 50-year-old woman.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
That's not gonna
50,
happen.
going
Yeah, we was kind of young too.
We were young. Yeah, when I was 20,
women in
Applebee's was
Applebee's.
the move. Applebee's was the move back then.
Your man Vince Ben says Applebee's is not popular, which I agree with, but I'm just saying that it's the spirit with which you do something. He still was trying to take her, you know, out to eat and that kind of thing.
What if him asking does she like Applebee's was a clarifying question to him to see if she did because he didn't?
Or he could have been testing her.
It could have been a test.
That could. They probably didn't go out on that date.
Of the emergency broadcast system.
If you're under 25 and you're watching this, I want to remind you that Barack Obama took Michelle Obama out in a car with a hole in the bottom.
And Mel, to your credit, her response was to cancel the date. So he may have never even learned whether or not she liked Applebee's or not. Right. And let's just say hypothetically that was what he was doing. She cast judgment so quickly that he still never found out because she canceled the date. Because she's like, you ain't taking me to Applebee's. You know.
Yep.
There's so many, you know, we talked about this on a couple of other shows, that there's so many things that we can do on a date. I still think I won the competition. And
you did not. You did not. And don't try to tell people that because they weren't there. You did not.
For the hot air balloon. But I think that, you know, there's something that we can do. I should have won. But I think, you know, even
I should have been taller.
I should have won. I talked about blindfolding people and I didn't win. I don't understand that one.
Well, that's the reason, because you blindfolded people. But
what?
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be a kink date, Glenn. It wasn't supposed to be a kink date. That was
whips and chains or anything like that. But I think you could even if you went to the zoo, you know, there's an opportunity to do a picnic. So I think she missed out on a number of great opportunities there.
Yeah, I think it's just tragic, man. How we
Hollywood tests are ridiculous and counterproductive. She's triggered by it. I agree with Hollywood.
That's Danny Underwood. I appreciate you stopping in here. Yeah, come on, Mel.
It doesn't necessarily be a test. It could be the start of a conversation. Like, here I am. He didn't test her by taking her to Applebee's. It was a question. Do you like Applebee's? Might not be a test. Yes or no, I don't like Applebee's. Okay. What if it was and this is all hypothetical, of course, but what if it was well, if she like Applebee's, I know she gonna love Benihana.
Right,
You
I was
know
gonna
what I
say
mean?
it could have been just a barometer check. Just
Right.
okay, well I know what you don't
Applebee's,
like. I know where
yeah.
not to take you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
We
Like you
all
don't
had
like that.
woman- To Ben's point, he took his wife to the arcade. That's actually pretty cool. Actually,
Hey, I'm laughing at Vince. Vince said he took his wife to the strip club.
You know,
Hey,
women get
hey,
a lot of free stuff at the strip club. I'm not gonna lie.
Respect those
Women
of
get a
Mel
lot of free
Roberson
stuff at the strip
or any
club.
company that he represents.
Hey Ben, and
Yeah.
if Vince was smart, he married her that weekend. He was like,
Man,
baby,
man.
why wait? Let's get this done.
And
Let's
You
get
like
this
the
done.
strip club?
Yeah, and Vince has been married, I think, 17 years now. I think he's celebrating his 17th year of being married to his wife. So strip club man worked for him.
So women,
It's 17 years, and on their anniversary, they play get it, 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 get it all day. Hey man, we got about 3 good minutes left before we get out of here. I want to talk to y'all about a concept I saw that speaks to the way fractured thought processes are so overflowing on social media, and how all it takes is really somebody else who's broken in the same way that you're broken, or experiences a dysfunction in the same way you do, and then those people get together, and the next thing you know, they have a whole voice on social media, almost like the people that are dragging the dude in his death. I heard somebody call that trauma bonding, and I thought that was amazing, because what connects people is what they have in common. But we think about that on the positive side, on the upside. But the reality is you can share some trauma or some fractured perceptions of the opposite sex, whether you're man or woman, and anybody that sees life through that same fractured lens becomes your friend, becomes your ally, because they affirm what you're thinking. They affirm what you think. Come on, Mel.
So, and trauma bonding too, from a psychological standpoint, doesn't have to even be that they share the same experience or opinion about said trauma. It could be one person went through something and the other person was there for them through that trauma, and the bond was created because of the trauma, even though the other person didn't go through it. That also is another form of trauma bonding. That's something that I went through personally.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us we might not have been equipped to label it, because then what happens is once you experience your healing, that person's purpose is not the same for you. They're helping you through something, and then when you get to the finish line, you have to redefine what their value is to you, because you don't need them to do what they had been doing for you before you you got.
And that's called divorce. Yeah, that's what it's called. But there's a lot to trauma bonding.
Robert, your timing is really good.
I know all about trauma bonding and some of the other things that Mel talked about.
Well, you're seasoned in trauma in general, aren't you, Robert? Just
trauma and bonding.
I have boundaries.
Glenn,
I have
trauma.
boundaries now.
Glenn, he's seasoned in trauma and bondage.
I know he was like, oh, bondage. Yes, I'm seasoned with that. The handcuff, the whip. Oh no, we're talking about bondage. Sorry, long conversation.
I'll
Hey
get
man,
you guys later.
hey man, it's time for us to get out of here, man.
Man, hold on wait a second, man. That hour went quick, man.
It does, man. It goes fast, man. It really does,
Yeah, man. I gotta be in the cave again, dog.
Come on, man. Come on,
Come on
man.
back.
We anytime, dude. We'll probably swap some people out if you call us and say you can be here, man. You know, we enjoy you a whole lot, man.
Nah, we can't swap nobody
No,
out.
it's like 4 spots.
They ain't gotta know, Ben. They ain't gotta know. We ain't gotta tell them. We ain't gotta tell them.
Yeah, man. If the host don't show up, we know.
Yeah, you can have his spot. Yeah, exactly. We got people you can replace.
That's what we doing. That's what
When you give me advice on the contract negotiation, we can talk about this.
You got something to say about trauma bonding. Okay?
Hey man, the production team is saying
Hey, Ben,
that
you look great. You look good over there. You could be the host.
he could. Any of y'all could be the host. I'm just lucky enough to be the host.
That's what I told Roger and Keisha, anybody can be the host. Anybody.
Hey man, before we jump off, man, I'll always have a great time with y'all, man.
Man, we have a great time when you
show.
show.
For having me, man, anytime, man.
Man, thank you for coming. We actually are going to be doing a live broadcast from the House of Blues very soon. Well, it won't be live. It might be streamed at a later date. But the production team is already okay. They said it's going to be live. They're already
which one?
In Chicago.
In Chicago.
Yeah. So they're already, man, talking about trying to see if you can, come in, man. And
I had my way.
I would love that. I'm actually flying. I'm flying to Detroit. I want to say like the 10th of June, 10th, 11th, 12th. We open the family business. So,
nice.
I'm supposed to be.
Well, man, look, again, man, we enjoy you, man. I'm not just saying that, man. When we see your name come up as who's rocking with us that week, man, we're all excited and appreciative, man. You've always shown yourself to just be a solid dude, good dude, and we're glad, man, that you think enough of us that you'll hang out with us for an hour. So when we leave, don't leave. We're going to follow up in the green room. Everybody watching, man, we can't thank you enough for supporting us. Whether you agree with us or not, you still show up, you still show out, you still tune in. If I piss you off or Glenn pisses you off, you still come back. But most of you do.
People love me. I don't know what you're talking about. People love me.
I'm the lover of life. You know they love me.
They love me.
For sure. Hey, man, but again, I love you guys. Nothing you can do about it. Thank you guys for watching. And until next Thursday at 9, this has been Live from the Cave.
Camped out at home for COVID? Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free at Indie TV.